Hello and welcome, everybody. We're back in Egypt with Alice and Dottie dear. However, they are at least mentally not in Egypt at the moment. They're in a place called the Dreamlands, in a place called Ulthar, who is also owned by somebody named Ulthar. But this someone is a queen, but she's also a cat. And well, you have discovered that Linda lives. Linda is a dreamer. So some of the artists through the ages have decided to go to the dreamlands and basically live there for eternity. She's one of those. But you've also discovered that all is not well in the kingdom because there are two sisters, Dream and Nightmare, who were created by eternity to make sure that mankind doesn't go crazy. And Dream is on her own at the moment because Nightmare is gone. And now people seem to believe that Nightmare may have actually gone to Earth, which is a bit difficult and strange because it's not something that is easily done, but it would explain why some people have been suffering from really bad nightmares.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I have no idea either. And basically, you visited the island beyond the moon on a ship that was pulled by a huge fish, in this case, really a fish, but bigger than a whale, named Bruce. But he's now returned you safely to Ulthar, and you are now at the quay. And you have disembarked, and Maeve the Great is still with you. So what do you do?
Maeve, I think we should talk to the Queen shortly, that she gets confirmed that Nightmare is missing. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good idea. And she jumps up and down, and then she runs ahead of you. And the two of you follow. What you notice what you've been noticing now, it really comes to the forefront of your mind. Not only do you not feel hungry, thirsty, or tired, but you also notice that your knee does not give you any grief. You are completely uninhabited, uninhibited by it, and it's really apparently something that's to do with your dream state, that no physical ailments exist. So you follow Maeve and you see the castle in the distance and you enter.
Yep.
You go into the throne room.
Yep.
And Ulthar is sitting on her throne.
Alice will bow her head just because
Ulthar nods.
it's a queen. We bear bad news. As you suspected, something is not okay.
What is it?
Nightmare has been missing for a while, and Dream obviously is not herself.
Nightmare has gone missing?
Yes, no one knows where she went. That's why we've seen our friend in the pictures. That was the only way they were able, at least for a short time, to have a peek into our world. They are searching for her.
Well, I mean, it's highly unusual for Nightmare to go for either of them to go missing, because obviously the island beyond the moon is big, but they know it like the back of their hands. They wouldn't get lost, and if somebody went looking, they would have been able to find them. So I wonder how she managed to get into your... Unless... Unless, I wonder...
Maybe.
There is one way that you can leave the island beyond the moon to get into your world. And that is to go through a painting. Because all works of art exist in both worlds. Now, if someone had decided... Is that the rain?
No. And also for the viewers, it's no special effects, it's just a storm approaching in the background, and with the first thunder, the police and
I'm actually
seem to
getting
God.
feedback. I think you have a second mic going
That can't
somewhere.
be. Where?
I don't know. Is it your laptop that's recording maybe as well? Okay.
We need that on. Let me double check what the other one says. Zencaster says nothing. It's still recording. Yeah, it is, but I can't enter Zencaster. I can't change the setting because the recording is going. That's why.
No, that's fine. I was just
Yeah.
wondering because I can hear it through Zoom. There is something weird going on with your sound.
I'm not sure. Zoom's
No.
taking that as my microphone, so that should work.
Yeah, that's really strange. Um. So,
Through a painting, you say?
but you would have to do this purposefully, and I don't think she ever would because she doesn't really want to go to your world. There is no place for her there.
What if
Unless
someone either took her through a painting or promised her something when she went through the painting?
I wonder. There is one painting which keeps resurfacing. Artist unknown. And it's drawn more than one person into its maelstrom. If a human watches it too long, they end up in a place that is too dark to describe. If somehow a copy of this painting managed to make its way here, and she saw it,
She might be there.
she might be in your world. She can't go there. She can't go to that place that's depicted there. She's not in danger, but she might have been led astray. So the question is, where is the painting now in your world?
The question is, what painting are you talking about? Because there are billions of paintings in our world, and millions of well-known paintings on top of that.
You see, it's a painting that is so elusive. People who have seen it vanish, except for those in the know who would never look at it. I'm pretty sure that that painting has been moved since. It's probably no longer where she is, but she's probably where the painting was. And she would probably be in a right state. Just imagine your nightmare and you enter your world.
Well, it gives me maybe a little bit of hope that not every night the dreams are like they are in the future when we can fix this.
What I will do is I will send out my eyes and ears, and she basically looks around at all of the cats surrounding her to see can they find her. If they do, I will send an unseen servitor to return her.
That sounds like a good plan.
In the meantime, I think you have completed your mission. You found Linda.
We did, and we know why she's here. We know that she went here no, she went on free will, but still have no idea if, how, when her poor husband will ever let go of her and stop hoping for her to return. But it is something we can't change.
No.
At least we know that we, and she will look at Dottie, are not crazy, that we've seen Linda in the painting moving around. We know why. And I'm happy to see that she's now in the place where she can draw as much as she likes, as best as she can, learning from the masters.
Yes, that is one advantage. So, do you want to return home?
Uh, if it's possible, which I honestly hope, yes, please.
Not a problem. And then you see Maeve kind of like padding back and forth, and she's like, Your Majesty, can I show her the spire? And Ultha looks at her and she says, Of course you can show her the spire. And Maeve looks at you and she basically tucks at your what are you wearing? Trousers? Yes, probably.
Trousers.
At your trousers, and she's like, come with me. You really want to see that. And she runs off. Do you follow her?
Yes, but I will
Okay.
make sure that Dottie is following as well.
Okay, so you pull Dottie. You have noticed that Dottie has gone absolutely quiet. She hasn't said a thing and she is not in a happy place. She is not doing well.
Alice will literally pull her along. So, like the picture, when someone is walking quickly and just dragging someone behind them by the hand. That's exactly what we see.
And you follow Maeve and she leads you up a spiral staircase that seems to be going on forever. Forever. But you don't get tired. At some point, you see light flooding in, so you have managed to ascend all of the stairs to a turret. And you step out onto a platform. So there is a wall, there is crenellation, so it's not kind of unsafe at all. And you see the sun. It's 3:30 on a September day. Sun slanting, and you can see a couple of clouds. And Maeve hops up onto the kind of like onto the wall behind the crenellations and puts one paw up, and she says, "Oh, we're really lucky. There's also some clouds." And she says, "Alice, come on, touch one of the clouds." Do you touch one of the clouds?
Yeah, she will hold on to Dottie with one hand, but she will definitely very carefully try to touch a cloud and see how it feels.
Okay. It literally feels like touching cotton candy. And when you pull back your finger, it actually also smells like cotton candy. And it is cotton candy.
Alice would definitely smile, or maybe give even a little laugh. So that's where all our stories come from, that the clouds are made from cotton candy.
You can eat it.
But I don't want to destroy the beautiful clouds.
You're not destroying them. Come on, have some and watch what happens.
Alice will pick like a little piece of a cloud and will carefully try a piece.
It tastes like cotton candy, like good cotton candy. But the cloud reforms itself.
That is a neat trick.
So the cloud isn't diminished if you take any.
Then Alice would take a second piece. She probably halfway turning to Dottie, looking at Dottie, deciding on maybe that's even too much, and she will just munch it on her own. But she will just look at it. It's really cotton candy. It's really good.
Dottie doesn't reply, and Maeve is kind of looking in the distance, and then after a while she says, "Oh, all four are out. You're really lucky. Watch." Do you look? Okay, so after a while, you see 4 specks in the distance in the sky coming closer and closer and closer. And they are really quick. And it's a bit weird because you would expect this to be some kind of flying thing, like a bird or something, and birds have wings, but whatever this is doesn't have wings. It's more like an undulating movement. And you see, and then the sun begins to get reflected off of these creatures, and it's like mother of pearl. So it's like this many colored, and as they approach closer and closer, you see that they have very long, very sleek bodies. They're almost like snakes,
Mm-hmm.
but the scales are like mother of pearl. And they have very elongated faces and little kind of like tentacles, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
beards coming from their mouths. And Maeve says, this is Sustri, this is Nortri, this is Austri, and this is Vestri. These are the four winds. And you see four flying dragons.
The whole time, Alice would have hold on to Dottie's hand, and with the other, she would have probably scratched Maeve between the ears while we were waiting. And Alice would just probably very quietly, just they are beautiful.
They are beautiful and they are really, really powerful. Watch. And what you can see now is pretty much like an air show. So they dive and they ascend and they loop around each other and they play. And you would guess that probably each one of them is about 20 to 30 meters long. So these are huge creatures. And they go on for a while, and you notice that they can also kind of glide, and sometimes one of them flips on their back and basically belly up sails, and you can see that they have four limbs with hands and claws
Mm-hmm.
at the end. So they look a lot like Chinese dragons.
I think Alice will very carefully like peek over how Dottie. What is Dottie doing?
Dottie is... Make a psychology roll.
Because it's kind of pretty, and usually pretty is something that Dottie might be able to see and focus on, but it might be that she's already too deep into where the hell am I? Psychology. 27 is definitely a,
That's
so
a myth.
that's a
It's a
hard
hit.
success for me.
Yeah. It feels like Dottie is trying everything just to hold it together. You assume that this revelation that the gods are basically a figment of your imagination, that you created them yourselves pretty much, that even Ulthar is older than them. You have just seen somebody whose world has collapsed. Her spiritual world has completely collapsed. She doesn't know how to take this, because if what Ulthar says is true, you are not even the pinnacle of God's creation, because there is no God. You were created because two guys were lonely. It's like that.
I think Alice would like pull on Dottie's hand and would be like, look how beautiful they are.
I guess.
I never would have thought I would see a dragon.
If they've got dragons here, God knows what else they have.
Well, we've seen quite a bit. The good thing is they have wonderful cats. Scritches again for Maeve between her ears.
Maeve purrs.
And finally the opportunity to talk to Maeve and find out that she's not one of the three sisters.
Dottie looks at you. Were you really seriously thinking that?
Yes.
How could you?
Because Maeve always makes the appearance that she understands and that she kind of wants to communicate. So I always said
Maeve turns to you and says, hey, I do understand, and yes, I do want to communicate, but you never listen.
Because we don't understand you in our world, but at least now I don't have to panic about that. With you, we have basically these three deities in our four walls. We know now you are Maeve the Great. Which we kind of knew before, to be honest.
Purr.
So, how do we get home now, Maeve? Well, you back to our home and we back to our...
For me, it's quite easy. I just need to go to sleep here and then I wake up there. I'm pretty sure that it may be working the same for you, but ask the queen, she will tell you.
Then let's look for a few more
So
minutes. And
you
then,
watch the show. It
yes.
is really beautiful. You also notice that they hardly make any noise, so they glide really peacefully and quietly. And every so often, one of them opens their mouth and eats some of the cotton candy, like
Mm-hmm.
flying through it. And yeah, it is a beautiful sight. They're magnificent.
Yeah, but after not too long of a time, I think Alice is more like, okay, let's get Dottie out of here. The longer we stay here, the harder it will be for her, even though it's really pretty.
So you go
Yeah.
downstairs again, and the queen is there, and she says, "So, did you see them?"
Uh, yes, and they are beautiful
Yes, they are, aren't they?
and very elegant. Elegant.
They are very elegant. They are something that you conceived, your race conceived, and they came into being here. I was very surprised. It doesn't work for everything, but some of the things that you think up appear here
That is
in the flesh.
that seems to be a good thing that we made up as humans. And the cotton candy
Yeah,
clouds are really tasty.
I can imagine. And she smiles.
But now I think it's time to return. So the question is, how can we both, pointing to Dottie, get back to where we came from?
The easiest way is just to lie down and sleep. You will wake up in your world.
Okay. Then she will squeeze Dottie's hand. Let's find a nice place and try to get to sleep. And you, my dear, she will scratch Maeve again between the eye. Look out for our house that nothing bad happens there. We will return. It will probably take a little bit more, but we will be back.
Teresa gives me plenty of treats.
That is good. That is good.
And if she could, she would give you a smile, but she looks very proud with herself.
That is good. Alice would be curious if Dottie would like say goodbye to Maeve or not. She will not force anything, but she will have like pay attention to it.
It's funny that you should say that. She does, but it's a very quick goodbye.
Okay.
And then the queen lets you take your leave. Dottie nods to her, she nods to you. And then the two of you walk out.
Yeah, Alice would have said a big thank you for all the help to the Queen, and then yeah, let's find sleep, which is usually not a good thing by Alice.
You go outside, and where do you want to go? Do you just want to find a nice spot where you are? Do you want to walk? Okay,
I think so.
so again, this is this bucolic landscape. It's pasture. It's wonderful. It's just in any way perfect. And you just find a nice spot. It's warm. The ground is warm. The ground is soft.
Yeah,
You lie down.
I think if the best place would be where we basically only see like nature and that's it, because
Yeah, that's easily done.
Alice hopes that this is the place where maybe Dottie can relax a little, because this is feels kind of like a place that could be home. Clearly not Egypt, but
Yeah.
a good place.
So the two of you lie down. You close your eyes, and you do fall asleep.
That is good. And while I fall asleep, let me run to the kitchen and close the window because it is raining, finally.
It is, no kidding.
Maybe I could have left them open because it seems to be raining like straight down, but better safe than sorry. Okay, so we fall asleep.
You fall asleep and you awake. The little fish comes up
Mm-hmm.
and it starts probing your environment. You are lying down. You're lying no longer in grass. It can tell you that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the smell is different
Mm-hmm.
because, it's not like those grass, the grass that you had been lying on. You smell the fragrance of the flowers that, grow in Lady Jane's garden.
Do I still
You open your eyes.
feel Dotty's hand because we tied them
Yes, because,
together?
yeah, you feel that, and you also feel the scarf that has been used to tie them
I
together.
will
Do you?
definitely open my eyes
Mhm. Mhm.
and look
Um,
for Dotty to see if she's awake as well.
you turn your head to the side where Dottie is lying, and yes, she is there, and she is also waking up. You can see that she's blinking.
I think Alice would carefully untie or like bend over to untie the hand.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not a problem.
And she would also clearly look if Lady Jane is sitting there, which I highly suspect she is.
Lady Jane is sitting there next to her. She's got a very tall glass of iced tea and a carafe with iced tea. And she, when she notices that you're moving, she looks at her watch. She says, 43 minutes.
It felt much longer for sure, but it worked.
What happened? But when you say it worked,
Well, we've seen Linda. She's doing good, fine. Just not in our world, but we can explain in peace and quiet. Uh, Alice would carefully get up
hmm
and would plonk herself next to Dottie
hmm
and would just give her a big hug without words, just hug
hmm
her. Probably would whisper like, "I'm really sorry."
and Dottie is it feels like a lot of energy has left her body. She breathes in very deeply and she says, I think I just need to take a moment and be on my own. I don't really know how to deal with this.
If you want company, just sitting there silently, just say a thing.
She nods and then she gets up and she just looks at Jane, and Lady Jane looks at her, and then Dottie just walks out towards where your rooms are, so basically to
Mm-hmm.
that part of the house. And Lady Jane looks at you quizzically. What happened?
Everything in me wants to drink now. I will not, but could I
You
have
found
an
Linda. That's a good thing.
could I have an iced tea, maybe,
Of
please?
course, of course. She pours you a large iced tea. What happened?
Well, it worked. The world of Uthar is kind of existing as it seems. The queen of Uthar is Uthar, the cat queen of all cats, also in our world.
What?
Yeah, we met our cat that is back home in New York. She was there to guide us. Dream world. It's a beautiful world, a very weird world. Cats and all animals can talk.
Are you sure you weren't hallucinating? Because after all, this was heroin. This was opium.
The thing is, it would be weird if Dottie and I would have exactly the same memory.
That is true.
And I'm quite sure she will. I'm not sure if she wants to confirm, because I'm quite sure she wants to forget all of this as quick as possible.
What happened to her?
Well, as I said, we met Otha, the queen, and she said that clearly Dottie's world setting with the one God who created all is not the setting that is real in Uther's world and mind, and also seems in our world. There were two gods that were bored, that's why they created humans. For me, it's fine. I don't have.
You're kidding.
I don't believe in the one God. I kind of believe that there are powerful things out there that are not human. I have met too many of those. But I think for Dottie, it's a little bit ground shaking more than anything else we've ever seen. You would have enjoyed it there, I'm quite sure.
I think I might have, but
And
so you learned how the world was created.
yeah, the Queen gave us a little bit of a summary. And basically, she also said that to keep humankind sane, they created dream and nightmare. So there's also the real dream world where, how were they called? Dreamers? Sleepers?
The dreamers, the
Dreamers.
dreamers.
The dreamers are living. So people like Linda, also like our dear painter, Mr. Lagrange, like Michelangelo, they put out, I think Da Vinci they mentioned as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, especially artists and creative people, get the chance before they die to switch over to the world of dreams and be a dreamer. And there they can live forever and create art forever. And Linda
That's
was
why they
brought
never
there.
found the body.
Yes. It was Linda's choice. She's happy there. She's getting painting lessons from, I think it was Da Vinci, or I'm making that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From Da Vinci. What else would you want as an artist?
I can't think of anything really that I would want if I was an artist.
the as we arrived there, we learned that they had a problem there because dream and nightmare belong together. And nightmare went missing. Uther didn't know that, so
So they are entities.
they are kind of entities. Yes, they are kids, or at least Dream is like a teenage girl. Or Nietzsche was younger even, right? She was
She
like
was 8 to 10.
8 to 10 girl, and I think her sister Nightmare we never met, but like a young woman as far as we understood. With Nightmare missing, all the artists went out and searched, and the way to look in our world is to step into a painting. That's why we've seen
And that's
Linda.
how you saw her.
It only works with paintings to have on their side as well. But Mr. Lagrange for sure painted his paintings and had them there as well, the same as here. So one day maybe, if we are in Paris and look at the Mona Lisa, it might be that there's someone tiny sitting there, because Da Vinci is definitely a dream. I have no idea. But yeah, but well, the Queen took it on her to send out the cats and find Nightmare. She had an idea where she could be. But that explains why we saw Linda, and we know Linda is doing probably better than a lot of other people here. I'm still very sorry for her husband, because that's nothing we will ever be able to tell him, because he will not believe it. We can only tell him that she's in a better place. But that's something we always say, so. And I know it sounds crazy as hell, but it felt kind of real, and it also felt kind of calming to know that Linda is in a good place. And honestly, it also feels nice to know that the nightmares I have should not always be like they are.
You see, the ancients never really talk about what their priests see when they went there. But I think They saw what you did. And I think this is way too difficult to describe.
Yeah, and also I think, especially for adults, very hard to grasp. I think a child would like it there because there, at least a lot of things reminded me of my childhood and the fantasy world you live in. The clouds were from cotton candy, the wind were dragons. So
Ah,
it
well, I have to
it's
say, it
it's a
sounds
lot. It
intriguing.
sounds intriguing. We traveled by a giant fish to the island where the dreamers are living. So, but all of that clearly for Dottie is not a world that fits to her beliefs.
Which is also probably why the ancients never spoke about it, because it would also have undermined their
Yeah.
world. It would have undermined the belief in the pharaoh, who is the reigning god.
It's the only thing I can tell you. If you have a cat or meet a cat, they understand what we say. Which is honestly not surprising when I think about it, because I always had the
I've never
feeling.
had a doubt.
But that,
That's interesting, though,
that,
that it's cats.
yeah, but that gives the Egypts a lot of. They were
Yeah.
right with the cats are.
It could be that Bastard is actually was created as a god to kind of
Mimic Uth.
represent the real
Yeah,
situation
maybe.
and bring her in, because polytheistic religions are never, they are not jealous. You can just have more
Yeah.
gods as you conquer the world, as you meet new peoples. You kind of go, oh yeah, that guy does something similar to our guy, so they're probably brothers, so let's just in case, let's just add him or
Mm-hmm.
her to our pantheon so that they don't get annoyed that we don't pray to them. So, well, oh, by the way, the post came in.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a letter. And she hands you a letter, which was lying there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a letter from Pamela.
Oh,
Mhm.
I will open the letter. Just read what
Mhm.
it says.
Alice, darling, as we have decided, we will be leaving for France on the 25th of December on the Orient Express.
Mm-hmm.
I've booked 3 compartments. We will be arriving on the 30th, and then we will be arriving at my husband's ex-husband's, so basically husband's stroke out,
Mm-hmm.
ex-husband's estate, on the 31st. And then there will be a ball. And then on the 1st, in the evening, the 2 of them will be leaving, and we will be alone with the kids. And she says, I don't know when you will be back in Cairo, so I'm enclosing the tickets here. But if you're back on the 24th or before, there is a big banquet at the Continental on the 24th. It's the Christmas dinner. So I have booked a table, and if you would like, you can join me. Love, Pamela. It's now round about the 15th of December,
Yeah.
so it's getting close.
Alice will just fold it up.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, that's something to sort later. So, the only thing, Lady Jane, that you can have in mind is that your ritual is working. So, it's the real
And we shouldn't
deal.
tell anyone about it, because...
No, but for you to know, it's definitely not the worst. And I think now I need to find a way how to get Dottie back settled, which is not my forte because, yes, I don't believe in the gods, and the one time I prayed to them, I got to completely different gods.
But I mean, never forget, you got a reply as a non-believer. She has been praying all her life, and she's never received a reply.
Well,
And now she
honestly,
probably knows why.
the reply I never wanted because it has been hell on earth since then.
But it also means that what she has been hoping for, life after death, paradise, doesn't exist.
Well, the dreamer world wasn't bad. You just need to get there.
But she's not a dreamer.
Maybe there are other worlds. We did not ask for that.
Seeing is believing.
The thing is, what we saw and what we heard is not that there are not other places. We only saw the world of Uther and the land and the island where the dreamers are. Uther never said that's the only thing next to our world. It would be kind of crazy to believe that that's all. When so much is possible, there must be other islands, other worlds.
Maybe, I'm not saying that it isn't the case, but the problem is everything that she has believed in has not turned out to be true. There isn't the one God. There isn't. You met you met speaking cats that seem to be living forever.
Well, the
There
Bible.
is no such thing as the dreamlands in the Bible.
No, but the Bible also does not say that cats cannot speak.
No. Well,
The
I hope you'll
Bible.
figure it out.
Yeah, the Bible is a book of stories, nevertheless. It's what the
Yeah.
humans during that time made out of all the little bits and pieces they had to set up a world they could live in. Maybe they just
Yeah.
picked the one and decided that's the one.
But to see for yourself that it's not like that,
Yeah.
I think you and I have the problem that we never truly believed.
Well, we believe in science.
Dottie doesn't.
Well, she does a bit, but not in the way
She
she
believes that
believes.
science is real,
Yeah.
but she believes that there is something out there that I know she has always wanted to see. She wanted to be in the presence of God when she dies, and I'm not sure if this is now on the cards.
Well, not in her gods, maybe in another one. But yeah, it's hard to really imagine what she's going through. I will give her a little bit more time and then let's see. Do you by any chance have someone going back to Cairo in the next like 2 to 3 days just to deliver a message?
Oh, no problem. We can phone it in if it's short enough for a telegram. We can just phone it
Oh
in.
yeah, that would be good. Then just let me sit down and see what we will answer. Although I'll need to talk to Dottie. Then we will wait until tomorrow. Pamela will be fine hearing back from our
That's not a
friends.
problem. I mean, you can just basically go into the hall and the maid will show you the phone. You can phone
Okay,
it in yourself.
good.
You don't need anyone for
Yeah, it's
this.
it's just a short message just to confirm when we
Sure.
will return, which honestly I'm not sure about. Is there when will you be back on traveling?
Oh, not until the new year. I always take Christmas off. There is going to be a reception on the 23rd that I may be going to at the museum. But I'm just going to drop in for a couple of hours, do some fundraising, show my face, that kind of thing. And then I'm going to retire to this place. I'm not the festive type.
Yeah, we were invited to join the celebration on the 24th in the Continental, so
That is always a very nice banquet. Yeah.
especially since we'll be leaving on the 25th for Europe, so at least I hope so that Dottie still wants to go there. If not, then we will probably return to New York. Although some distraction and seeing other things might not be the worst. Also in France, there are a lot of churches, and they
She
definitely
smiles.
believe in Dottie's God.
I think it's not so much about who believes in Dottie's God, but what Dottie believes in. And I think her belief is really shaken.
Yeah,
Maybe you could pray again and maybe this time send a sign to her.
I am done with praying. I'm never praying again. Never, ever. I'm not letting those three witches come back again. No, no. Although I still haven't met the last one, but I'm still not keen on meeting the last one.
Well, I don't know what happened between you and the two aspects of Astarte that you have met, but I can tell you that Astarte per se is not an evil god.
They are. I'm looking for the English word. Für verzogen.
Spoiled
Spoiled.
brats.
They're bored, spoiled brats. Honestly, that's exactly the behavior I got, at least from one of them. And the other one has a weird way of helping, but she kind of helped Peter, so I probably can't really say anything against that, although her ways are very debatable.
But I understood that Peter is on the mend, and he
He
seems
is,
fine.
but the way there was, at least for us, quite horrific, so. But it
Was it maybe because you weren't meant to be there?
maybe, but honestly, what I've seen from my past, I don't want to see again. So, and I think Dottie as well. So, well, the second one, it was horrific, but the result was good. So, well, as I said, methods may be debatable, but results are there. So, I'm still not keen to meet anyone else. I was quite pleased that the whole world of Urtha is not a scary place. It's a quite nice place.
And it's got cats.
A lot of them. And birds and fishes.
And dormice.
And dragons. Asian
Sounds
ones
fantastic.
that we as humans brought into the world of Urtha. So I think our Chinese or Asian ancestors were believing very, very much in these dragons, north, east, south, west wind. And they seem to be formed in that world as a real thing.
Isn't it incredible what the human mind can achieve?
It is. At the same time, we are our biggest problem because our mind can also be quite difficult on us.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think most of what we think is just things we think and believe in or not believe in. Oh well. What time of day would it be by now?
I think you basically did this before lunch, but after
So it
breakfast.
would be around lunch now, or getting
Yeah,
to
it's
lunch.
probably yeah, probably even 12:30
Okay.
roundabout. Are you hungry?
No, I can wait until normal lunchtime. I'm just trying to see how long we should give Dottie time and when we need to pull her out of that, because that can be a vicious circle she's now stuck in.
Well, lunch is usually served between 1 and 3, whenever.
Then let's go for 1 o'clock and then let's see if we can get her to join us for lunch.
I will instruct the maid.
Thank you so
And
much.
she gets up and she leaves and she points to there's more tea.
Thank you. I think Alice would go into her room and would grab her notebook,
Mm-hmm.
or rather a sketchbook. I'm quite sure she will want to draw now a little bit
Mm-hmm.
after what she seen. I
Mm-hmm.
think she will briefly stop at Dottie's door, but will not knock. She's like
Mm-hmm.
hovering her hand a little bit, but then decide, no, let's give her a little bit more time. And we'll go
Mm-hmm.
back, sit down with an iced tea, and she will probably start drawing Maeve.
Okay, you draw Maeve. And you have seen her so many times, and you draw. Is it a black and white
Yeah, it's a
sketch,
black
or
and
is?
white, just with pencil, and probably a few in different positions.
Mm-hmm. And you draw various studies of Maeve the Great.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty much 1 o'clock, so you know that if you go there now, the lunch table will have been laid already, and food will be ready to serve.
Then I will get up, close my sketchbook, and go for Dottie's door, and will carefully knock on it.
Mm-hmm. The door is open from the inside. And well, Dottie's standing there. She's opening the door. That's what happens.
Looking at Dottie, how does she look? Does she look like she cried the last 3 hours, or how does
It's not
she?
been that long. It's not been that
Yeah,
long. An hour maybe. Perception. Spot hidden, I mean, sorry.
Spot hidden or psychology?
You want to know what she looks like. So
Yeah,
let's
spot
start with
hidden.
spot hidden and let's then take it to the next
A
level.
spot hidden is a big no.
Okay. Oh, whoa.
I rolled a
Then you
92. I'm not that good
okay.
in spot hidden.
She looks
It's
as she
Dotty.
always does. Yeah, it's Dotty. No question
It's
there.
Dotty.
Okay. So no psychology roll for you because you failed at the first round. It's Dotty. She looks at you. Yes.
Uh, Lunch is ready if you want to join us.
Oh yes, of course. It's is it I forgot the time. And she says, "Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
If you need more time for yourself, that's fine, okay, right?
Everything's fine."
Oh boy. Sure.
There goes the mutual we will never lie to each other again thing.
Yeah, I think Alice is just probably just shaking her head. And you were just as bad as I am at lying.
Do you say that?
Yeah, but kind of on her breath, but kind of knowing
Mm-hmm.
that Dottie will hear it.
32, yes. She does. And then the two of you go to lunch. Lady Jane is already there. It's really nice lunch, but lunches are usually quite light, as you know, because it's so hot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of green stuff like salad and so on. Very light dressing. Um, and some puff pastry, cold puff pastry,
Mm-hmm.
with something like a little bit like cottage cheese, so all very light and all very fresh. And and lunch is good as always because the food is always very good.
Yep.
And then Lady Jane looks at Dottie, and then she looks at you, kind of like a little bit inquiringly.
I think Alice, just to make a bridge that something is happening, we got a note from Pamela. Dottie Pam just wanted to remind us that on the 25th we are going north to Europe, and she added the tickets just in case we are basically tight on time. But she said she booked a table for the 24th for the big Christmas celebration in the Continental. Not sure if we want to go there.
Dottie looks at you and she says, "Of course, we made arrangements. We can never go back on our word."
Well, we can go back home without going to Europe. It's easy enough to rebook. If you feel like you would rather go home for Christmas, we can go back to New York.
We made a commitment to Miss Baxter Strauss.
You know Pamela. She will be fine if she goes on her own.
I think we should stick to our plan.
Could I try to roll psychology?
Yes, please do.
Just to see what is behind the words that she's saying. No, that's a 98. I can't read Dottie.
She is of the opinion that you made commitments and you should stick to them. Mind you, Dottie is one of the most reliable
I
people
know.
you have ever met. So she is, it would be totally in character to say we've made a commitment. So by hook or by crook, and if we lose both arms on the way, we will be there. But if this is now her, if this is now Dottie, or if this is Surface Dottie, you don't
Yeah.
know. But it would be in character for her to say this.
Well, then it's a question if you want to be there for the Christmas celebration or if we just want to be there in time to join Pam on the Orient Express.
I don't think I want to celebrate Christmas, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. I can stay. I mean, we could go back to the hotel, and the evening I can stay in the suite. I mean, I could prepare our luggage for the next day. I'll keep myself busy.
Looking over to Lady Jane, you said you would need to return to Cairo anyhow on the 23rd?
Yes, I would be going there just for a couple of hours and then return probably at around 11, and then basically close up shop for the new until the new year. So I will just withdraw to my study and read.
Yeah, it's a question if we can stay this long here at your place, and then we could just join
Of
you, and you
course,
can drop us maybe at the Continental.
of course. I mean, that is not a problem.
Would that be fine for you, Dottie?
Dottie just nods into her food. She's, you notice that she's not eating, but she is very good at just pushing it around and basically
She
crumpling up
learned from
things.
the best.
Yes, she learned from the best.
Well, we can still see then, but that would be, I think, the latest date for us to return then to Cairo to pack everything, to get everything organized that we can leave Cairo on the 25th.
Mhm. Well, I mean, of course, you can stay as long as you like.
Thank you so much, Lady Jane.
And then Lady Jane basically finishes her lunch, and then she goes outside and she sits in the garden. You can see that because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like open plan, and she just sits down and she takes out one of her cigarettes, puts it in a cigarette tip, and starts smoking. And she's reading a book.
I think Alice would like turn towards Dottie and grab her hand just to hold it.
Mhm.
The main question is, do you want to stay here or do you want to return? Maybe a change of scenery would not be the worst. Lady Jane will be fine with either option.
I know. The question is, what do you prefer?
I don't care, to be honest. It's Egypt. If we're here or if we're in Cairo, both is fine for me.
Now she squeezes your hand and she looks at you very, very closely and she says, "How are you feeling?"
Much better than before we did this trip, which is good for me, but I'm still trying to figure out how I can help you to get settled again.
Make another spot hidden.
Different dice. Let's see if they want to cooperate. 71. Barely, yes, because I have 72 in spot
Okay,
hidden. So,
that's
yes.
that's enough. That's enough. She has taken off her cross.
So, boy.
She looks at you and she says, "Let's take a walk."
Okay, let's do that.
And the garden is actually big enough
Mm-hmm.
that you can walk without Lady Jane maybe seeing you kind of like walking around, but she will not be able to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you take a walk and she says, "I always wanted to go to heaven. You know, that's what all Catholic children want, to be there in the presence of God and to feel eternal peace, to have no burdens, no concerns, no worries, and to know that this is endless, that whatever befalls you in this life, whatever hardship you may have to endure, one day it will be over and it will all be good. Everything will be fine." And I totally believed this. It helped me put up with lots of things, knowing that. And I mean, when I saw what was going on in the trenches, in the paper, I always thought, for them it's over. They will now be released. But I no longer know that. From one second to the next, all of this hope has been taken away, and I have none left.
Just endo my thought on this. I know I will never be able to really feel what you feel because I never found this kind of belief and hope. But your God can still be out there, and his world, heaven, can be there as well. Uther didn't say anything about this is the only place. Honestly, we've seen so many different places that was not our world. Why shouldn't be your God and your heaven there as well? The only thing, he's not the only God. I think that's the only thing that might be the thing. I know in the Bible it says he's the only one, he created everything, but it's something.
Well, we know for a fact that he didn't.
Well, mankind put the Bible together. They put their belief together, and their belief was that this one God is their God. The same as the Egypts picked like multiple gods because they could not decide. But we have other religions as well. They just picked one of the deities and they built everything around that. But that doesn't mean the deity is not there. After all we've seen, you should know that there are gods out there. Why shouldn't yours be there? With his heaven, with all the people that believe in him, just like others believe in other gods. You never doubted that someone that was Buddhist, believing in their gods, would end up in hell. You always thought it's their belief, their God, their world. Let them think what there is. You did get nothing against that your God is not there. You heard, yes, he's
No,
not the only one. That's the only thing you learned.
you see, the thing is, I have been so faithful. I've prayed all my life.
I know.
I've never received a single reply, not a sign, nothing. And I now know why. You are an unbeliever. You go into a church, you pray,
And get
and
another God talk to me.
you don't just get one God, you get two goddesses
Yeah.
for the price of one prayer.
Yeah, and have hell on earth after that, thank you. That was not a good thing. That was a horrific thing.
But at least you know that they exist. I now have nothing. I know that what I have been taught and what I've been told and what I have believed is wrong. We were created by time and place, whose mother is eternity. And we were created because someone was bored. It doesn't get much worse than that, does it?
Well, they created something quite fantastically, don't you think? Why should,
But it has no meaning.
Dottie, why should humankind write that down what we heard? It would not give humans purpose. They changed it in the way they thought. Maybe time is your God. After all we've
But
seen, you know, gods are there. Everything that everyone else usually is searching for, like me, because I say there is no God because I can't see and touch and feel them.
but you have met too.
Yes, that means that your God is out there as well.
Or maybe I believe in the wrong one. Maybe he's one of the million of gods who doesn't exist.
I don't think
They
so.
can't all be there.
Remember what we heard from Uther about the dragons? Humans created those because they believed that strong in them. You know how many
Yeah, and
people.
so we created God because we believed in him. That's not really a blessing. That is, it doesn't work like this. You can't believe something into existence that then is supposed to have created you. That doesn't work. On no plane of existence does that work.
I kind of like the idea that a god that people believe in is real and a god that no one believes in gets forgotten. Your god is believed in millions, no billions of people.
It doesn't transcend anything. It is a closed system. There is no meaning to our existence. There is nothing beyond this.
We've seen something beyond this. You were in a
Yeah,
world beyond this. Why?
yeah, but unless you are a painter or a musician, you don't go there. Or maybe a poet.
We,
But I have passed all these careers up.
we've.
I have no talent.
You've been in other worlds with me. Remember the bird people? That was
Yes,
not
but
our
that's not
world.
where I want to
No,
go.
me neither. But now that I've seen more than just our world, why should it end just with that? There must be more worlds out there. Much more. And
You see,
honestly,
the difference is,
I.
until this morning, I knew.
But,
Now I don't.
but,
Now I am completely lost.
but you got more.
Now it's all hope, but I have no hope.
My. For me, it's exactly the opposite. We got proof that there is more out there than our world.
That's good. Then you can believe.
I would wish for you to see it the same way. So far, you believed in a story and a book. Now you've
And I would have so wanted you to believe in that too.
now you've seen that there are other worlds out there, and suddenly you don't believe anymore. We have proof that there are gods. We have proof that there are other worlds. And now you don't believe. Now that we have facts, which you did not have before. With all we've seen, I'm sure your God is still there, and the world and the heaven that you describe is there. And it's probably a small world just like Uther's world is.
And God knows whoever ends up there. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter, Alice.
It
It doesn't
does
matter.
matter.
I mean, it doesn't. What's it to you? You never believed, and I will just have to cope with this somehow. Life will go on, but I just now know that life is meaningless. That's also good to know because then, why worry?
That's exactly why I worry. Life is not meaningless.
Mine is.
So everything you've done, all the people you care for, all the people that care for you don't matter. We are all nothing for you. Because that is what you are just saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You
I'm just
said
saying that
life doesn't matter at all. Do you want to jump off the cliff now and just end it? And just throw everything away, us away. So every minute you've been on this world, every minute you helped us, every minute you were there for other people, every minute people were there for you, don't count? It's worthless for you?
I would never throw myself off a cliff because in the past it would have been a deadly sin and I would have gone to hell. Now I don't know where I'm going and I'm terribly afraid. So, no, I will not throw myself off a cliff. I will hang on to the last shred of life that I have and I will try to maximize its length as much as I can because I am so afraid of the unknown. I have no idea what's going to happen. None. I always knew. When you were afraid, I was dead set on God is there and He will guide me. Whatever happens, He is there. Now I know nothing.
I could say, welcome to my world. That's a lot of us people, how we live through it, and we live through it quite well.
Well, then in that case, everything's fine, isn't it?
No, it's
We
not.
don't need to have this conversation because now I'm like you, minus the alcohol problem. But maybe that's coming too.
Well, the state you are in, I definitely need to keep an eye on you that you don't get your hands on alcohol.
Don't worry, I won't.
I just can
But
try to
that's beside.
plead for you. Don't give up that easily on your God.
Well, it's not like he has done much to prove himself to me, but never mind that. Never mind him for a second, okay?
He guided you
Talking of.
till here. You said it
Oh, did he?
yourself.
Well, I was following, as we now know, an illusion.
No.
A mass hallucination that is based on a book.
Sure, mass hallucination. It's not a mass
How come
hallucination.
how come we don't know anything about, any.
We know that we stumbled over Urtha in this thing. Almost nobody knows about that. The gods are hiding that because honestly, think about our wonderful politicians and the military and all the mad, power hungry people out there. The gods don't want to expose themselves to them. So they count on
Yes,
people believing in them.
because they are so weak. They are nothing. The gods are nothing.
Okay, so the gods we met in Urtha are nothing.
Well, I mean, that's what you said all the time. We should ignore them. Oh, look, there's this woman. Ignore her. She's just trouble.
Or the sisters are trouble. I'm with you on that. Doesn't mean that deities are all good, or honestly, I don't think they're bad, they're just bored. At least those ones, because they don't have a
Yeah,
lot
like
of.
the ones that created us. And I'm now afraid that maybe my God is just bored as well. Maybe he's terrible.
The thing is, the Three Sisters don't have many to any followers. They don't have people believe in them. That's probably why they are bored. Your deity should be quite
Also,
busy.
you think that it's my job to keep believing that my God doesn't get bored and do something terrible to us?
No, I hope for you that you can find a little piece of hope to believe that he's still
If you
there
really
and
think
that
that
he will
I'm
give you
ever
a
going to
sign.
believe in him again or even just enter one of his churches, you're mistaken.
So you're not giving him even the chance.
He had 26 years.
And he brought you here.
The last time I checked, you paid for the ship.
Well, so far he led your way.
That's what I thought.
I am sure of that.
Maybe he didn't. Because if he doesn't exist, then I was following a mirage.
One day you will see that he is there. And you will kick yourself that you stopped believing in him.
Then there's always hellfire and damnation. Congratulations to me.
You are too good of heart to ever go into anything like hell.
Yeah, but if I stop believing, and I have stopped believing, but that doesn't really matter. Now what matters is more the present. So we're going to stay here for a couple of days until the 23rd, then we're going to go back. Then I'm going to get ourselves ready and we're leaving on the 25th. That's the plan and this is what we will do.
So no going back to Cairo earlier to have distraction there, because here we don't
Oh, it
have much
depends what.
distraction.
Well, now she really looks at you and she says, what do you need? You are the one who said that the next days were going to be terrible.
Well, as I said, with what we've just seen, I feel much lighter and much better now. Which I hate that it basically turned around and you are now in a horribly dark place. We need to find some kind of level where we both will be okay.
You see that she starts smiling and it's a genuine smile and she says, that's good then.
Yeah, because in my mind I know now that not all deities are horrible and not all of them want our death and insanity.
That's why you were drinking?
Among reasons, yes. Not being able to sleep without having nightmares is also quite a big piece, which I now then also have an explanation at least, and hope that it gets fixed soon. The question is, do you want to stay here and be reminded of what we've seen, or would you rather go into a bustling city?
I don't know, because I don't think I want to go out anyway. I mean, I would be spending my time in our suite, which is a beautiful suite, and we're paying for it after all.
If you want to stay inside, here's a much nicer place than our suite.
Because, I mean, honestly, what would we be doing? I just don't feel like doing much. Or anything, really.
I would say let's go to the market and see if we have anything else we want to buy before we leave the country.
All right. Then we go back to Cairo.
Let's make a mix. Let's stay here for like 2 more days, and on the third day, maybe around the 20th of December, let's go back.
All right.
And if any time you say you want to leave earlier, we can leave earlier. And if you feel like staying longer, we stay longer. And if you feel like going back home because that is the place you want to be, we can go back home. Pamela will understand. She will not be angry. She could be the first one writing to us that she decided differently, so...
She won't. She's looking after her
I know,
ex-husband's children.
but she will never be angry if we decide else.
That makes it sound like it's so meaningless if we're there or not, and that would contradict what you just said.
she will enjoy our company. And yes, she would be sad if we are not there, but she would not be mad and angry.
Somehow I find it less problematic to be angry than to be sad.
I get that. But she would understand if we just don't feel like traveling more but want to go home. This is the longest time you've been away from home ever.
Yes, but that's not a problem. I'm not homesick.
Okay.
I yearn for something else that is not yours to give.
Then maybe traveling is a good thing to do. You never know what you stumble over in another place.
I just hope no more weird things.
I hope that too, although the last one was at least a blessing for me. Maybe we stumble over something that will be a blessing for you.
At this stage, I wouldn't even be able to name anything.
The idea is just that you go out of it with a good feeling.
That may take a while.
I can believe that. The way I move forward is focusing, as you said, on now and a little bit the future.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoying the time I have with the people I love and care about. And exploring things and learning things.
Yes.
And then the rest will be a big surprise, as every step along the way is.
Yeah. But it's weird not to know where you're going. I was always so sure.
The good thing is you're not alone. You have people by your side. So
Yeah.
you don't have to walk on your own. And she will just give Dottie a kiss on the cheek.
She smiles. So, what do you want to do with the rest of the day?
Learning more hieroglyphs or chess? What do you think?
Chess.
Good.
So the two of you take out the chess set, you play.
Yeah.
A couple of games, then evening comes, the dinner is served at the normal time. And then, if you want to do something, you can do it, or we can just jump ahead.
I think over all the time, Alice would now be close to Dottie and just have a close eye on her because she is worried as hell that Dottie will have maybe the same thing Alice said, like the bottle is my best friend now, or however people deal with losing basically all sense of being on this earth.
Okay, so the thing is, Dottie is really downcast. You notice this, but she's trying not to show it. So she is engaging in activities, that kind of thing. It's more like when she feels that nobody's looking, that you can tell there is now something behind her eyes that is new. Like a sense of she has lost something, and it looks like she feels it's irrecoverable. It's gone forever. Interestingly enough, she never was a drinker, but now she even refuses a sherry every so often.
Okay.
So she doesn't touch alcohol at all.
Good.
What about you? How are you feeling?
I think Alice is definitely feeling better. I think this whole thing, what she said to Dottie is quite what's slowly settling in her mind, which gives her a lot of calm, that she basically just stumbled over the wrong deities to meet. And I think it gave her a lot of calm and strength back. And also now she has something to focus on, and that is Dottie. Which is not the best reason to not drink anymore, but I don't think she's even tempted at the moment to touch alcohol because she's not feeling down. She's feeling very sorry for Dottie, and she will feverishly think about if there's any option or anything that she can think of to help, which she can't. at least I couldn't think of anything that would help. And you can't force it, so that is something
Yeah.
Alice knows. This is a topic she can't keep on doing the same discussion over and over again. That will not help. It will just make Dottie for sure angry. So Alice is a little bit a mother hen at the moment, just making
Okay.
sure Dottie's fine, Dottie has what she needs, and
Yeah.
trying to see that at least as best as possible the days pass by without Dottie suffering too much on the outside.
So the night of the 19th, so the next day you have arranged to
Yeah.
return to Cairo, everything's settled at 11 o'clock. Simon will drive you into town.
And I would have sent Pamela a short
Yeah,
telegram
that went
she
through.
knows.
You actually just phoned in the telegram, no problem. She has actually acknowledged this, and you have received a phone call from the telegraph's office, and they've read the telegram to you, so because they couldn't send one out here. It's the night of the 19th.
Yep.
You go to bed. You fall asleep. You dream.
Great.
You dream, and in the dream, it's night. There's a full moon in the sky. You're walking across a lawn, a meadow. There are some trees. It's a very light forest. Not even a forest. It's a grove. And suddenly you hear footsteps. One pair of footsteps that's running, and another pair that's walking a little bit more slowly. Do you look?
Yeah, she will turn around and look and see what she can see.
The first thing you notice is you see a woman. She's standing there in the distance, maybe, I don't know, 20 meters away from you. Very long, very, very black hair. Extremely beautiful. An ethereal quality to her, an ethereal beauty that transcends the, the most beautiful being ever. And she's walking, but now she stops. And then you hear the footsteps, the running footsteps coming from your left. And you see a small child, maybe 8 or 10 years old, a girl running towards her. And she opens her arms like this. And the child jumps up and she catches her and she twirls. So basically, and then she cradles the child. And the two of them look at each other. And then she sets the girl down, takes her by the hand. And the two of them walk away from you.
I think Alice will just smile happily and will at least whisper in her mind, "Thank you, Urtha."
And the dream ends. And then you wake up. The little fish comes. It knocks slightly on your eyelids and it says, "It's time to get up."
Alice would then
It's 8 o'clock.
wake up and open her eyes.
You wake up. It's the little fish has been correct. It's 8 o'clock. The alarm clock says so. You know that breakfast will be served at 9. You want to get ready so that you can take the car into town at 11. And you have full control of yourself. The dream is over. You're awake.
I think in between, maybe after breakfast, I suspect Lady Jane is still there and she's not somewhere else. She would probably pull Lady Jane aside and would just let her know that Nightmare found her way back to Dreamland.
How do you know?
I dreamt of it.
You dreamt of it.
I've seen Nightmare and Dream reunited. And weirdly enough, Nightmare is a beautiful woman. Which totally contradicts what we know as a nightmare. In Urtha, we learned that nightmares are there, that humans can cope with their fears. I'm not sure if that is really the result for humans, but, well, let the deities believe that.
Well, I mean, I think that's good news, isn't it?
It is. At least I wanted you to know. I'm not sure Dottie's interested, and I don't think I will mention it to her if she's not asking.
I don't know if it's something she would ask, because why would she ask you? I mean, how would she know? Do you know?
I don't know. It's weird at the moment. How is it? The situation is complicated. How do you give someone the belief back that they completely lost?
I don't know.
I would personally like to meet her god and kick him in the shins.
With your luck, if you pray hard enough, he may just oblige and be there to be kicked in the shins.
Yeah, he would deserve that for his crappy behavior, but well.
I don't know if she will get over this, but I know that she will go on.
Well, she clearly said that she's too scared to end her life because she has no idea now what comes after this, so she will hang on to life as much as she can.
Well, as you know yourself, fear is a very powerful generator.
The thing is, I'm not afraid of death. I never was.
She wasn't before.
Yes, but she's now, and I have no idea how to tell her not to be, because I can't say what is afterwards. For me, it's just, we will see what comes along the way. Like, 90% of life is, let's be surprised what comes along the way. Why should that change afterlife?
I think you and I simply cannot understand because we have never believed like
Yeah,
this.
that's true.
Sometimes I wish I did, because it would make some things a lot more easy to endure.
Oh, yes. It would. At the same time, the logical part of my brain is like, you can't see it, you can't touch it, it's not there.
Well, you couldn't see and touch Astarte until you prayed to her.
And honestly, I would have liked to stay in the belief that they are not there.
So it could be that Dottie's god does exist.
I honestly think, yes, why not? There are so many deities out there. Why the Egypts picked multiple ones? What says anything against that? The Christians picked the one they liked. Maybe one, maybe time, maybe eternity, whoever they call God in their book.
Yeah, but I think the way you described it, eternity, time, and place, are quite different from the Christian God.
I know. But honestly,
And I think,
a book written like the story we heard, no one would have followed.
but think about it for a second. Think there is someone that loves you no matter what. And his love is so all-encompassing and eternal. He is the one, or they, or whatever, that will never leave. They will always be there. The one thing that we're all afraid of is to lose the one or the thing that's most dear to us. Now take away this fear. Think it will be like this forever. And then somebody says to you, nah, it isn't.
The only thing I can show her is that life with or without deities is still beautiful and you can enjoy it quite a bit. And that it's worth waking up every morning.
And I believe that she will be able to learn this again.
Maybe.
But I do not believe that she will go back to her God. Something tells me that bond is broken.
Well, if her god is not showing up, I highly doubt she will return to him. And he's not really known for showing up, does he? Well, from time to time, when the weird, holy things that happened really happened, maybe from time to time.
Well, those holy things haven't happened in about 2,000 years, ever since his son died.
Well, for me, I kind of like Urtha. That's quite a nice deity to say. That's a nice one.
But she's a cat.
Yes. And I'm not a dreamer. I will never have a place in her world, but
Nor does Dottie.
it's nice to know that there are good gods out there. Maybe hers is just very busy because billions of people believe in him.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it. He's so busy because he's got so many followers.
He has, and I think of
Maybe.
all the gods that we have at the moment that we know of that people still believe in, he is one that has at least a lot of followers, because there are other gods clearly with a lot of followers as well, but he has assembled quite a big bunch.
I think Dorothy has just been faced with her own insignificance, and that is very difficult to accept.
And I highly reject to believe that we humans are insignificant. We can change things, we can change lives of others, our own. And as we learned, we can create things in other worlds, like dragons being the wind. We are not
Yes, and
insignificant. And that is something she needs to learn over time.
yeah, but she has a long way to go.
The good thing is she knows people like us that had enough practice to slowly get to this place.
Then you have your work cut out for you.
Yeah. And I will see that maybe we will visit you again. Or if you are ever back in America, just let us know. You're always welcome.
I will. And then basically 11 o'clock runs around. Simon comes in. He and one of the other servants take your luggage, and and then Lady Jane says goodbye to you. She hugs Dottie. She kisses her, and then Dottie says goodbye, and Jane says goodbye, Dorothy. And the two of you get into the car and you drive off to Cairo, where you arrive. You go into your hotel room.
Yep.
There is a little a note from Pamela on the floor saying, I don't know when you were reading this, but welcome back nonetheless. And yeah, and that's it. So basically then you have 4 days until the big do.
Yeah, so what else would do? She would leave for Pamela a message that they are back and that they will not attend Christmas celebrations.
Okay.
But
Okay,
she,
so when you say this, Dottie says, but why don't you go?
because I will not let you sit here alone on Christmas. We will just cozy up, have something nice to eat.
Last year's Christmas was already difficult. Remember the tree? Remember how I fell off? You had broken your ribs and I fell off the ladder.
Well, the good thing is we don't have a tree here. We don't have to climb. We can just...
Yeah, but it wasn't much of a celebration for you last year. You should go.
Why? It's just a Christmas. It's not
It's a ball.
I will have enough balls back in New York City if I want to. I want to spend Christmas with my best friend. We will just have a nice, relaxed evening. Either we cook together or we order food. I'm quite sure they will deliver something up if we want to.
There is no way I'm not going to prepare Christmas dinner if you're going to eat it.
Well, we both will eat it.
Of course I will eat it because I'm not the one who doesn't eat.
Then...
Good.
We will gather what we need. We will need to make a shopping list and we will just have a nice evening up here. Let's have Pamela have a celebration down there.
Okay, so
but
do you want... Yeah,
Alice would invite Pamela over any other day if she likes to, because we now have like either the 20th evening, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, so we have enough time to meet up, also to go more in detail, to talk again about the travel and what and where.
Okay, so that is easily done and she is happy to accept, and in this case actually then Dottie does prefer to order something because it's a lot less hassle.
Yeah.
And Pamela shows up and she, of course, have you spoken to her about the alcohol thing? Okay, because she brings, of course, then wine bottles
Yes.
with her. Yeah. And now the question is, do you also want to go to a bazaar and do some more shopping?
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
at least for be it for food that we would need
Mm-hmm.
at least for Christmas itself,
Yeah.
just us two,
Mm-hmm.
and also to see if we can get a few things more to bring with us, be it on the train, because
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of snacks for there maybe,
Yeah. Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
maybe making another package ready that will be sent to New York City with whatever we want
Yeah.
to send there.
You were going to crate
Yeah.
some of the stuff anyway, so that's now being done. You also have the necessary
Yeah.
paperwork that you can actually ship it outside of Egypt. And then on the, let's say on the 21st, actually, Pamela makes an appearance.
Hmm.
So the three of you have dinner. So you learn that she has booked you on the Simplon Orient Express,
Hmm.
which will take you to Paris, the scenic route through Constantinople, etc., the Golden Horn. And then from Paris, you will take a regional train
Hmm.
into the village that outside of which, well, I mean, 2 kilometers outside of which the vineyard lies. It's a huge, huge estate. And it's, well, I mean, it's a little bit hilly because obviously wine grows on hills. So, but it's not mountainous.
Hmm.
And then she informs you that there will be snow in winter. There's always snow, and and it's kind of like a really quaint little village. That's where the children go to school. If they happen to be there during school time, but usually they just go there during the Christmas and the summer holidays, which apparently in France take months.
Hmm.
Um, and on the 31st there will be a ball, and there will be lots of guests but they will leave on the first, and then on the second the host and hostess will be leaving, and will be leaving Pamela in charge of the house and the children, and of course you as the esteemed guests. And so that's basically the arrangements that have been made.
So Pamela and Alice would definitely discuss how and where Alice and Dottie can get warm clothing, because we definitely did not pack warm clothing because we just
Hmm.
planned to go to Egypt and back.
Hmm. That's not a problem. She suggests going shopping in
Yeah.
Paris on the 30th. And that's also not a problem. And then basically you do your shopping as well here, the food and everything. Then the 24th rolls around. Dottie makes turkey, which she hates because she thinks it's always too dry. And it's like this perfect English Christmas dinner with Brussels sprouts and everything that
Hmm.
belongs, bacon, blah, 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 blah. And of course, there's a Christmas pudding, which is served by the house. The problem is, Christmas pudding is doused in, I mean, like, no, it's drowned in brandy. What do you do?
I think Alice would have talked to Dottie if we really want to have Christmas pudding, or not rather
Okay.
something nice as a dessert that is from here. Since we're celebrating here, why don't have dessert from
Turkish
here?
delight.
Turkish delight, something without.
Hmm. Yeah. And so, how do you deal with the fact that you've been given bottles of wine by Pamela? Do you
She
drink
would
it?
pack them carefully and ship them to New York
Okay.
for another time, because wine can stay for a while and it's good
Hmm.
wine. So she
It
would
lasts,
just
yeah.
pack it and would send it back home.
Hmm. Okay. So, Dottie notices all of this, and then she says, "So, how are you feeling?"
Still good.
That's good.
And I'm kind of excited for the trip, to be honest. I've never been there. I read a lot about it. And I'm quite sure both of us will be glued to the windows of the train, just staring outside and taking everything in that we can see.
Yeah.
And when we get back home, we can say we've been in Paris.
Yes. We've. I can say I've been to so many places. I've never been before. I've been on an ocean-going sea vessel.
Yes. Oh God, in Paris, I need to shop things for my mom. Something expensive. Haute couture thing that she can impress her friends with.
But not too risque.
No, but special. And as I said,
Yeah,
expensive haute couture because she can then just. No one else will have that.
that is true. It will be one of a kind.
Yes, that will be something.
And then essentially you celebrate Christmas. Basically you have your dinner because Dottie doesn't really want to mention the whole Christmas thing. For her, this is more like it's the birth of a son of a god that doesn't exist any longer. You're looking at an atheist in the making.
Oh, for Alice, it was just Christmas like. She's Christmas, it's just family time,
Yeah,
good food,
yeah.
usually a lot of drinks, but hey. And gifts. I'm quite sure Alice. Oh God, what kind of gift would she have gotten for Dottie?
Last time you gave her clothes and she gave you a photograph of yourself and Penny in a silver Lalique frame.
I'm honestly not sure if Alice would have anything for Dottie because everything feels wrong to gift. Because she's not sure she wants to give Dottie a memorabilia from this trip. Because that
Yeah.
sounds horrific. To celebrate her losing faith is some kind of wrong.
An upside down cross. Here you go.
So I think it would be more maybe like a voucher for some shopping in Paris for like maybe a nice coat or a nice pair of shoes or something like that, or a nice hat or so. I think that would be the thing, and then some sweets maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Not a very creative one, but anything else that I can come up with, it's like no, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's tough because also Dottie finds it really difficult to do any shopping, especially on her own, because the two of you always go together because it is Egypt after all.
I think
So,
probably before Christmas, like 1 2 days before Alice, or even that might have been even a talk back at Lady Jane's house. I think Alice would have suggested that we don't gift each other anything because we are here on a trip
yeah,
together. That's enough.
yeah,
Well, knowing that maybe Dottie still will find maybe at least a little box of sweets or something, because on the market we kind of still tend to drift, do a bit of
yeah.
shopping and meet again. So
When you say that, she says this is a good idea because what we would also just have to haul back to New York.
yeah.
Um, And but then on the market, she says, we said we are not going to give each other any gifts, but we should give something to ourselves. And she to the two of us, and she comes back with an assortment uh, of Egyptian sweets that the two of you really like,
Mm-hmm.
not just Turkish delights, but they're like those cinnamon
Yeah.
swirly buns thingies that you went shopping for on the first day that you went out on your own, and and it's like a treat. So Christmas is really more family time, and all of the other stuff is completely. You know that she would always go to church on that day, but she doesn't.
Yeah, maybe it's good that we are not home because here the next
Mm-hmm.
church is at least not probably as easily to be yeah.
At least not a Catholic one, because there are the English expats, so they would have a community. But Catholics are quite not necessarily the biggest group in Egypt because those native Christians are Coptic
Yeah.
Christians, and they're different as well. I don't know what
And
their thing is, but
let me change the voucher. Not shopping, because that would be again something that we need to carry around. She would add a voucher for both of them to visit the Tour Eiffel.
oh, very
Because
nice.
it was built before the 19, yeah, it
I
should
think
be
it was built in the
eight,
19th century,
yeah,
wasn't it?
and
Yeah,
18
1880
80
something. Yeah,
1890, somewhere around that, I think.
yeah, yeah,
So, and I'm
yeah.
quite sure during that time you could already go on the platform
Hmm.
to have a view
Yeah.
over Paris.
And it is a lovely view.
Yeah, so I think maybe making a memory together is the better
Yeah.
voucher.
And she's totally excited because of course she's seen
Pictures.
pictures of it, and yeah, and so the 25th rolls
Hmm.
around. Dottie is very excited. The thing is, you have to leave quite early. So you the train leaves at 6. But the way this works is you get on at 6, and then there will be breakfast at 7:30.
Okay.
While you're already on the train and the train is just leaving Cairo, you are already ready to eat.
Hmm.
And I mean, it is a luxury train.
Yeah.
There is food 3 times a day, plus cake, coffee, tea, whatever you like. It's like a hotel on rails, and it is fantastic because you're driving, you're being driven through this beautiful landscape. I mean, you're going through the Taurus mountains in Turkey. You're crossing the Bosphorus. It's just incredible, and of course, it is highly luxurious, even the cabins that you have. And of course, they're very interesting people on board. We have Pamela Baxter Strauss, who on the first evening has already managed to get a bridge game together. So now we've got these 3 other people who have been basically sworn in that they're always doing the thing with her. So she's playing with them as well. Do you play bridge? Does Alice play bridge?
She can. I don't think it's her passion, but she for
Mm-hmm.
sure can play bridge, and she would
Mm-hmm.
join
Yeah.
at least
So that's
partly,
on.
not the whole
Mhm.
time. And the question is if Dottie can play bridge. If not, Alice would take time maybe to show her how it's
I
played.
actually doubt that she would do it, because she can, because you need 4 people,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of like this apparent, because I don't even know how it works, but I understand that there's
Yeah.
pairs and
I
you
think so.
play with each other against
Yeah.
the other pair or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that.
So
So
it would have been nothing she would have been able to learn, because you would need 2 more people, and
then she would
but
pull
if you
Dottie in,
show her,
like
she will. Yeah.
we play together just for her to teach,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
she learns it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so her intelligence is 70. She rolled a 67. So yeah, she's slowly getting there. But I understand it's quite a strategic game. So it's
It
not
is.
it's not so much luck based, but
Yeah.
actually takes a lot of planning and stuff. So in those 5 days, she will not become good, but she will be able
At
to
least
understand the
the
rules,
rough
and yeah.
rules. I don't think Alice is really good in that. I think
Mm-hmm.
her card game of choice is poker. That is her game that she really enjoys. But
Also not Dottie's game, because she's terrible at bluffing.
very true.
Yes, no, I've got nothing. No.
Big smile. And yeah, but I think a lot of the time, at least I can imagine Alice as well as Dottie, really glued to the window looking outside and
Yeah.
just talking about, have you seen that, look at that, and it's so different from
And of
home.
course, there's snow in winter, and the mountains are quite high. And you go through tunnels, and it's just this, yeah, it's just an amazing thing. And then on the 30th, you arrive in Paris. Um, I think it's Paris, it's east, it's Gare de l'Est. And then porters come, they take your stuff, and basically Pamela informs you that your bags will be shipped ahead. So you know that you're just going to pack an overnight bag
Hmm.
for your stay in Paris. And the heavy stuff will be sent over, because she also has several trunks, because she was there for a season. You were there for almost a season. And then she's put you up in a really lovely hotel. Um, let's say, of course, close to the Arc de Triomphe,
Yeah.
very central.
Yeah.
And then you go shopping for your mum, and
And for ourselves as well. I'm quite sure
and for
Alice,
yourselves, warm
we need
clothes.
warm
Yeah,
clothing, so
yeah.
nice big comfy coat that keeps warm, a scarf, boots, and the same for Dottie then as well.
And Dottie actually only chooses trousers. She doesn't even bother with trying to find skirts. She's now a complete trouser convert.
Yes.
When asked, she says it would be so much easier to wear, and if we go out with the kids, you know how boys are, blah blah blah, lying to herself completely. This one's gone over the edge. And yeah, and then you buy something for your mother. What do you want to buy? Is it going to be a hat? Is it going to be a really lovely stole or a scarf? Or is it going to be a dress? Because that's, without her there,
Yeah, will
because
be.
most of those are.
It would definitely. I think it would be two things. I think it would be a handbag
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
and a scarf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not too wild, because both of them you can't. Well, you can go wild, but it would never be. Her mom is good in pairing it, that it's not too out of.
Yeah.
But expensive and really special, and she would carefully pack that, and I think she would leave it with her luggage. She would not ship that to New York. She would bring it to New York herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if she can find any kind of cigar, she will buy them for her dad. Or no, I'm quite sure we are going to a winery, aren't we? She would have
Yes.
asked Pamela if she could get from that winery like a box of or bottle of wine for her dad as a
Of
gift.
course. We have red, we have white, and we even have ice wine.
Maybe then a mix, because honestly, my father drinks all depending on what he pairs it with. So
Sure. Bertrand will be delighted. And then it's time. You go on a train again into the French countryside.
the question is, do we go on the 31st to the countryside?
Yeah.
So on the
You have
30th.
one overnight stay in
So in the
Paris.
30th and late afternoon, we would visit the Tour Eiffel and would do that
Okay.
for best
So you
case
go up the Tour
sunset.
Eiffel. That is doable. No problem there.
And honestly,
Yeah.
Alice would have asked Pamela if she wants to join or not, although she's quite sure Pamela have been up there before. So
Pamela decides that she actually wants to have her hair done.
okay. Then we will
And
probably
so the two of
meet
you
for
are.
dinner later on. That will be probably that
Yeah.
way.
So the two of you go to the Tour Eiffel. The metro existed at that time, didn't it? That's quite old.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I would say that it existed in
But honestly, I'm
1931.
quite sure we would take a cab and not the metro.
Or you take the cab,
Yeah.
you go to the Tour Eiffel, the Trocadero in front. The site itself is just, it just looks great. I love it. So does Dottie in this case. She's very much like me when it comes to Paris. And you go up.
And you're right. The underground, the first line of the metro in Paris was opened on July 19th, 1900.
There you are. So yeah, so you could in theory take the train
would
if you
still
like,
take
but
the
you
cab.
don't. Yeah. And then you go up the Tour Eiffel, and Paris is at your feet, literally.
And it's good that we bought warm clothes, because it must be freezing cold out there.
There is a wind, but that's good because it means that there are no clouds. It's quite windy, but you have a beautiful sunset.
Okay.
Yeah. And Dottie is not only impressed, but she is enjoying it, you can see.
That is
You can
something that gives Alice a little bit of relief, that she, at least these things, that she's still able to enjoy them.
You have noticed that she has not put back on her cross.
Yeah.
That's something you have noticed. But she has also kind of maybe now got an attitude that is more like a little bit of a, well, then I'm going to show you if you don't exist, so this kind of like, she's now in this the stages of grief.
Yep.
So she's now in this situation of, I don't want this. Next comes bargaining at some stage, but at the moment she's like coping, not stages of grief, but
Yeah.
stages of coping. She's
Yeah.
now in this.
Then I will do my own thing.
Yes, exactly. Then I will. You know what? Sod you.
I don't
26
I
years.
don't need you.
Yes, I'm powerful and I'm beautiful and I don't need you to complete me.
Mhm.
That's what he hears. Yeah. So she's in that situation at the moment. But if she goes on like this, it might mean that at the end of the day there will be reconciliation, because that's always an option. So it could be that she is going to forgive him.
We will see. As I said, Alice, everything that she went through gives her rather arguments for the idea that there is a God, and that
Yeah.
the God is not that he's the only one, and that he, but
Hmm.
honestly, there's deities out there. Why shouldn't that one be there? It's like there were enough
Yeah.
deities to pick from. Why would have the people written back then a book about someone that was not there? There were enough other options. Just pick one.
That is true. That
That's
is
like
true.
Alice's mind, and I'm very sorry for
Yeah.
viewers doing listening to that, but that's Alice's point
Well,
of
I
the
mean,
world at the moment, based on all that she's seen.
but you see, the thing with, oh, we're not the pinnacle of creation, we're so insignificant, that is actually the true Lovecraftian
Yeah,
horror.
I
For
know.
those
Yeah,
who
it
haven't read
is.
Lovecraft, this is the essence of
Yeah,
it. Mankind is not the pinnacle. There are no gods. The only things that exist are the outer gods, and they're all terrible. Also terribly bored. So Dottie is now going through the normal breaking of worlds for a Lovecraftian hero who finds out that all of the stuff that they've believed in is simply not true.
yeah, and for Alice, it's rather the counterpart. She never believed there was
Yeah,
something, and now she has to believe that there is more because she's seen it. But
yeah,
I think the last visit in Urtha gave her a little bit of peace with all of this, because she's seen there are good other things out there. Not everything is bird people and horrible stuff. That
yeah. And I
is,
think this is part of the journey
yeah,
as well for both of them to reconcile themselves with the fact, yes, there is something out
yeah,
there. For Alice and for Dottie, it may not be what you wanted it to be.
yeah.
It may be very different. But this is, I think, part and parcel of Call of Cthulhu. Yeah,
Yeah, it is, and I think it's usually more difficult for people that believe in the
yeah.
one God, because then it's really like groundbreaking. So,
Yeah.
but well, we are
So
enjoying
the
it.
31st rolls around, you take the train.
Yep.
It's very countrysidey where you go, but it's beautiful. And then there is a car that picks you up, and you are driven to this huge estate, really big. But also, I would say for me, it would be ideal because I like this, but it depends really on what Alice likes. It's kind of a little bit. No, I don't want to say it's run down, but this is a working vineyard.
It's
So
rustic.
it's rustic, yes. And there are horses, and they smell, and there is wine, and there are caskets, and it's people are working. There is dirt there. It's not necessarily the cleanest place, and it's rustic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alice doesn't care. I don't think she's mad about that. Horses are
yeah,
actually something she really enjoys. So,
yeah.
and I think she was always the child where her mother was just angry because Alice always came back with dirty clothing, because she did not keep them clean, because she just played
Yeah.
with probably the kids in the back alley when she could sneak out, because she
Mhm.
did not care about social standards. So
Those back alley kids.
it's in
And
her
then
eyes, it's rustic and romantic.
it is very romantic. Also, it's completely snowed in, and then you're taken to the chalet, which is it's a big house, but it's also kind of like the smaller of the two by far. And there is There is actually a housemaid there who welcomes Pamela. Obviously, she knows her. Pamela is there quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, dear Dottie doesn't speak French, but everyone here speaks French, of course. At least the servants do.
I
And
do
so
a little bit.
basically, you speak
Yeah, a
French.
little bit. Not very good, but enough probably to get through.
Yeah. And then you are shown to your rooms. They are smaller than the ones you had in Lady Jane's place, but then again, Lady Jane's place was a
Yeah.
palace. But it's serviceable. It's big enough. You've got your vanity. You've got a bed. You've got also you've got a wardrobe which is empty. However, somebody has already hung up all of the hanging clothes because obviously when your trunks arrived, they were unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
So they know where the clothes are. They unpack those, but they don't touch the rest of your luggage. And yeah, and then there is like downstairs there is the living room, as it were, with an open fireplace, and it's all and those hunting trophies on the walls, kind of like yeah, it is rustic. And then Pamela says, "Are you ready to meet the hosts?"
Yes, sure.
Okay, you go outside, you go to the main building, and there are also, like the farmhands there. So it's different types of what you call it, servants. Then you're led in by the butler,
Mm-hmm.
and you are shown into a huge, huge room, which is the living room, and there you meet Bertrand and Geneviève. Um, They both greet Pamela very warmly. And then Bertrand and Geneviève approach you. Bertrand kisses your hand, and Geneviève shakes your hand. Bertrand kisses um, uh, Dorothy's hand, and Geneviève shakes hers. And they both speak English. Bertrand quite well, Geneviève not so much, but it's okay. And they introduce themselves and welcome you. Welcome to La Valette.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Well, Pamela has been speaking so highly of you. So when she suggested that you could come and stay with her and keep her company while she's looking after the boys, we just felt this was a good idea. And I hear you've never been here, so we thought, why not make them really welcome?
Well, it's definitely a beautiful place, so you feel welcome quite quickly. And we heard a lot about you as well, so we were really curious to see how it really looks because she's painting it like the most beautiful Monet picture or Da Vinci picture, or whichever artist you like the most. But she has a point. She has a point.
Geneviève looks around and she says, I can see Monet.
Yeah. And I can imagine that also outside the land, especially maybe in springtime or in fall, must be quite pretty.
Very much so. We take the horses for long rides, says Geneviève. And when you look at the two of them and you compare them to Pamela,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really see how Pamela and Bertrand would ever have gotten married, whereas Bertrand and Geneviève really fit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he is. She did say that he was kind of like more of the quiet type, and so is Geneviève. So they're both at the age is pretty much the same as Pamela,
Mm-hmm.
but Pamela is very different from Geneviève. Geneviève is fine, don't worry, but she is very different.
Well, Pamela is
Is extra.
is extra. She's a wild one, so
Yeah.
probably Pamela was the adventure Bertrand wanted, and then decided, okay, I had the adventure, thank you, and now I want.
Yeah. It's the story of her life. It happened with Matthew as well. Although I think actually she may have divorced Bertrand because he was too boring, maybe
That
for
might be
her.
a vice versa thing, yeah.
And then Pamela kind of starts kind of like, you know, she's moving on the balls of her feet. She's like, where are the boys? So she's kind of like waiting for you guys to stop talking. And then Geneviève smiles and she says, "Oh, how about I just take you to them, and Bertrand can look after our new guests." And so the two of them walk out arm in arm,
Mm-hmm.
um, and um, and then Bertrand looks at them a little bit nonplussed. He says, "And here I stand
With two
with
other beautiful ladies, would Alice just point out.
yes." And he was just about to say this, and then he said, "Well then, will I give you the tour?"
Yes, I think that would be lovely also to learn a bit more because I highly suspect that this has been in your family for quite a while.
It has. That is true. Before, I mean, my parents, well, my grandmother on my mother's side owned this even, and she made wine, and then my mother. But, I'm an only child, and when I decided to go into media, everybody was like, "Bertrand, what are you thinking?" But, if you have the right staff, you can run this place and have a different career and just come here during the festive season or during summer, and it's working. But of course, my mother would probably roll in her grave. But then again, this is my life. This is the one thing that I learned from Pamela. We only have the one.
That is true, and you have not thrown this away. Other people would have decided to dump this to live their life elsewhere, and you decided to keep this going and keep this going in a nice way. So, to your
So would you
mother,
also?
there's no reason to roll in your grave. You should be quite proud of that.
And he said, would you also like to see the service part or just the house?
I'm generally curious, so also the surface
Well
part,
then,
if you don't mind.
let's do the house first, and then we will switch shoes, and then we will go to the service
Perfect.
part. And so he shows you the house, and it's big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of those French former kind of like aristocratic
Mm-hmm.
palaces that weren't raised. Like think of Downton Abbey size wise, huge.
Mm-hmm.
Probably hell to heat in winter. So, and he also then says that there is one wing which they just close up during winter because it is hell to heat.
Yeah.
So there is the place where he basically, when he has open house in summer, then everything is open because then they entertain guests and they even come and go. But in winter, he really just keeps one side of the house. And he says that also this is where the guests will be staying. And he informs you that there will be 21 guests
Okay.
joining,
Mm-hmm.
and they will all be staying here. And they're all couples except for one person. So there's going to be a single person who has been invited. God knows who they are. That will have a room of their own. And then of course there is the chalet that you live in.
Yeah.
The house itself is, like those. It kind of does look gloomy because it's dark, so they need a lot of lighting. There is some art on the walls, but nothing where you kind of go, oh yeah, that might be an original. And possibly also looking at Bertrand, maybe not the art that he would have hung,
Mm-hmm.
but it's, because it's been there since before
Yeah.
forever. And then, of course, there is the horses, the stables, beautiful horses. Not many, just 4, but still.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you see the wine cellar, the place where they make the wine, um, and then he basically also shows where they put down the wine,
Mm-hmm.
and before it gets transported away. They don't bottle themselves; they send out caskets.
Okay.
And caskets are not bottles,
Caskets,
casks.
yeah.
They send out
I know what
casks.
you meant. We didn't. Not
They
not
send out
bodies and
caskets.
boxes. What?
Yeah. And then he also says that every so often one of they sell some of their wine casks because apparently then you put in sherry and let it stay in those because then it changes the taste of the sherry.
Mm-hmm.
So he sometimes sells empty casks for sherry making. And I mean, the tour itself actually takes the better part of 2 hours because there is a lot to see.
Yeah.
And then he also shows you a little bit of the environs. It's got a park-like environment, but it's not a French park, but it's more like an English garden, so all growing.
Yep.
No sculpted trees. And of course, he's got dogs. Dogs everywhere. Big dogs, small dogs, sheep dogs, boring dogs, old dogs, young dogs. So you, in all, you count 10.
Okay.
And he says, yeah, there is more, but they are quite often in the stables. They are my passion.
No cats?
We have farm cats, but the dogs are terribly afraid of them. They have the run of the place.
Oh, well, understandably so. Never fight a cat.
No, you shouldn't.
No, you will definitely lose.
And generally speaking, um, he seems pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you enjoying the tour?
I think Alice is enjoying the tour. She would also, now her training comes in, that she can do small talk if she wants to. So she will be also the one like asking here and there very politely where it should be, just to, she is interested, but also just to make this
Yeah.
work. And she would not pull Dottie up front because she's quite sure Dottie would be like, well, why should I now ask questions? No. So yeah, but it's, she's really interested in that because she's never seen a winery before or any kind of detail how it's done. I think especially like winemaking and so on, she would also ask a few questions just to understand, because in theory she knows a bit, but now to really see and learn from someone who knows what is happening is quite interesting.
So, what you learn is that he knows how wine is made. He understands the process and more than just understands it, but he also says that he has a vintner
Who is to
who looks
blame?
after the actual wine production because he is not even a dilettante. He never went to school, he never learned the trade, he did something entirely different, and he believes that he believes strongly in experts doing the job to make sure it gets done properly.
Yeah, which Alice highly
Yeah.
supports that idea.
And you also see some of the people, and he ever so often stops, or they stop him and talk to him.
I think on a train ride to Paris, at least Alice would have taught Dottie at least like the main phrases, like hello, goodbye, thank you, good morning, good night. At least the little things, even though it's not more. But I
Yeah.
think that would at least maybe let Dottie feel a little bit better, that she can see like merci or merci beaucoup, and the
Yeah.
little things like that at least. And
Yeah, and I mean, when somebody says bonjour and she bonjours back, people are appreciative of
yeah,
this, but they also realize that she doesn't speak French. So those who can,
speak to.
unless they only speak to Bertrand, like directly,
Yeah.
they try to speak English. So it's a give and take,
Alice
but
would
they
greet
appreciate
them
that,
and have her little phrases that she can do in French.
And then after a while, the tour concludes, and he says, "Well, there will be the ball tonight at 8 p.m." And then he looks at you, and will you both be joining?
Yes, for sure.
All right. Because I wasn't sure, maybe you might be too tired or something. Because I mean, Pamela will of course be joining, but she's
I
Pamela.
honestly can't promise that we will stay there for the whole party. Maybe tiredness will hit us, but honestly, we can't skip a celebration in a beautiful place like this. So definitely we will be there.
He nods and he's pleased. And then he says, there will be a very light family dinner before the ball. And of course, you're all invited
That would
to have
be
it here
lovely.
instead of the chalet.
Yes.
Then you can also meet Michel and Francois, my sons. And then this basically, he says, but he's going to change for dinner. And you're still wearing your traveling
Yeah, we
clothes, so
will
I
change
assume,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Okay, so you go back to your house, you change, and then you go to family dinner and you meet Michel and Francois. They're 8 and 10. They look a lot like their mother. The eyes and the build, they are both very slender, whereas Bertrand is He's not a big man, but he is more muscled
Mm-hmm.
and he's more kind of like square,
Yep.
so angular face and all that. Whereas his wife is a lot more petite and a lot more soft
Mm-hmm.
lines. Um, and Michel and Francois hang on every word that Pam is telling them. And she speaks English to them
Mm-hmm.
because her mother wants her to, because they both speak French and Pamela's French is, of course,
Yeah.
impeccable. But the boys, they want them to learn good English and they have an American accent already. So they've picked that up. And you can see that Dottie is really warming to them because, first of all, they speak English, but also it's not quite clear if Dottie actually wanted kids in her life,
Mm-hmm.
but she definitely can deal with kids very well. So, yeah, and
Alice
she
is
spends a
amused
lot of time
about
talking
this.
to
Yeah,
them.
she will. The thing is, Alice don't mind kids as long as they're not getting annoying. So if she has a child
Yeah.
next to her that is like, why, with the third why, she would be like, go away. But in this way, if they're and especially if their mother and father's around, they will probably behave quite
Hmm.
well, at least for now. So Alice is probably more watching the show, but enjoying it.
You notice something that you know about Dottie. She has the patience of a saint. So
Yes.
even after the 10th why, she keeps answering.
Alice
She
does not have
is,
patience.
yeah, but Dottie does.
Mm.
And yeah, and then after dinner, the two boys basically look at their parents and they ask if they can show Dottie their rooms. And Bertrand looks at Dottie, and he says, Dorothy, no, actually, he calls her Miss Williams. Would you mind? And she says, no, no, not at all. And she smiles, and the three of them run away. And
Mhm.
then Pamela looks after and says, to be replaced so easily. My heart's already bleeding.
They love you. That's so easily seen.
Of course they do, but I mean, that Dottie of yours, I didn't really know she was so good with kids. But then again, I never had the possibility of watching her.
Yes, same here, but honestly, who can resist the charm?
That is true. So, for tonight, what are you going to wear?
The one nice dress I have with me. And Alice would have made sure as well to check in that Dottie has a dress she's comfortable with. If not, we would have gotten one in Paris for her.
Yeah. So you do have two evening dresses that you can wear.
Yeah, Alice would pick one that is not too scandalous. I think she has one scandalous there and one quite decent one, and I think she would pick the more decent one
Yeah,
because
you've
this
got the
is
one that doesn't have a bag. Yeah.
yeah, this is not the
And the other
place
one.
where she wants to.
Hmm.
That's something for home, right? Right there, she
Yeah.
knows, and for Cairo maybe as well a little bit, but here it's Pamela's family. Alice wants to make a good impression,
Hmm.
so
And then Dottie arrives at some point. She also changes, and then you have the ball.
yeah. And
And
I
it's
would have
it's
told
it's
Dottie just for her own sake that if she's getting tired or she's done, we don't have to stay here till the end. And that would be, I think, something Pamela would confirm. If we're getting tired, just go back to the chalet, and that's it.
and Dottie says, "I will go back when I'm tired, but that doesn't mean that you have to leave."
Understood, vice versa, the same. If I'm tired and you
Mhm.
want to stay,
Yeah, I mean, it is the one night where everybody tries to hang on until 12 o'clock because
yes.
it is the 31st. And so the ball takes place, and there are 20 people, 10 couples, and then there is one spare one.
Hmm.
He is super attractive, he is very charming, and he's seated next to you. Because everyone is trying to marry you off.
That would be
No, because that's the done thing.
yeah.
They have to pair them off,
She would have thought that would be like Pamela. That might be something for you.
No, I think he's given up on Pamela and men. He's like, yeah, well, this is not going to happen. I mean, so
Why
yeah,
hasn't
and
that
you
Alice?
have That is true. So you have this very charming French young man. He's about your age, and he is yeah. So what do
What's
you
his
do with him?
name?
Um, that's a good question. His name is
Thinking of
Jacques.
oh God, the cliche name for French people.
Oh, that's Francois.
Oh, Jacques is also quite on top of the
Yeah,
list, I think. Um,
but it's also a common name, so
it
it's
is.
you're likely to meet a Jacques. And it was also one that would have been used back then because names that might be en vogue now might not have
Yeah.
been around back then, but I'm pretty sure there were Jacques.
I think Alice is not in the slightest mood on really meeting a man or
Mm-hmm.
flirting or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
so she will be polite. So small talk politeness as she would do with any other poor guy her mom would sit next to her. She would not offend them
At
because it's
36, he
not
gets it.
it's not his fault.
Mhm. At 36, he
Yeah.
gets it.
So just a nice
And at
talk.
02, he completely keeps his composure. He completely ignores what's going on, and he is the perfect entertainment gentleman
Okay.
all evening. And at some point, he asks you if you would like to dance, if this is something that, and then the two
Yes.
of you dance. It's not jazz, it's ballroom dancing. Now you feel your knee again. So basically, as soon as you return from the
Mm-hmm.
dream world, your
Yeah, clear.
body became your body
Yeah.
again. Um, and make us at some point actually you notice that Dottie has withdrawn,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then well, basically then midnight rolls around, and I don't know how the French do it, but I suspect that they also count back from 10,
I never thought about that. I think so. I think they celebrate
because the
similarly
English
than
definitely do.
yeah, and the Germans as
uh,
well. I think it's not
yeah,
far apart.
and then they count back from 10, and then it's 1932.
Oh boy, another year. Still alive.
I was just gonna say we've
With all
yeah,
that
we're still
happened, it's
alive.
quite impressive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 1931 was kind of a killer year for the two of you. And then yeah, and then interestingly enough, the crowd disperses quite quickly. So there are kisses on both cheeks for everybody, and like one last clinking of glasses. Oh yeah, by the way, how do you deal with alcohol?
I think she would have told Dottie that for dinner she would have a bit of wine. Not much, but a little bit, just because we are in a vineyard and it would be
Yeah.
quite impolite. But Dottie needs to decide for herself clearly, but
Mhm.
not more. And I think for like Happy New Year, she would just have a sip, but she would be really
Mhm.
careful, just like a little
Mhm.
bit, that at least she tasted it, but not really drinking.
Mhm. Okay. Then the evening concludes. What do? Do you go back to your
Yeah,
house?
I think as soon as midnight arrived and a few clinkings and hugging
Mm-hmm.
Pamela and wishing especially our guests or our hosts also a very happy new year. And
Mm-hmm.
she would then excuse herself. Probably she would not be last. She would be quite in the beginning after midnight to go
Mm-hmm.
back to
Mm-hmm.
her room.
Okay, you go back to your
She
room.
would probably carefully knock at Dottie's door just to see
Come.
if she is still awake. She will peek inside. You still up?
Yeah, I'm reading, and she lifts a book.
Alice would just tiptoe inside and she would just plonk herself next to Dottie and would just give her a big hug and would just say, "We made it through another year. And what a crap full of year." So 1932 will be our comeback year. We will
She smiles
enjoy
at
it the
you.
way we want to enjoy our life.
We will enjoy our lives as we want to enjoy them. And she kisses you and she says, yes, we should.
Exactly.
Uh, And tomorrow our hosts will leave and we will be alone with the kids and Pamela for the next 2 weeks. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, I have in mind that maybe the older one was Francois, right?
And we didn't
Okay. Yeah,
specify, but it's easier.
then
He's the
whoever's
older
older
one,
then.
Francois.
Maybe Francois would like to learn some magical tricks. That could be entertaining.
So you're going to teach him?
Why not?
I'm really looking forward to this already.
I think the 2 weeks will be really, really
we
fun.
could put on a floor show and the two of you can perform.
Yeah,
He would love
we-
that, I'm
we-
pretty
we
sure.
could do that.
They are actually real darlings.
They seem to be. I'm not keen on old children, but they make quite a cute impression, I have to say. So I think the 2 weeks will be really, really nice.
Yeah. And we can go ice skating. They've already told me that they go ice skating on the pond near the village.
You guys skating, I will look. I'm not sure I want to test ice skating with my knee, to be honest, but I'm happy to cheer you on and have a laugh when you plonk on your butt.
I'm really looking forward to this. I really, really want to.
So then we will see. But for now, maybe a bit of sleep. So at least I need sleep. I'm tired.
Me too.
So one last kiss from Alice on Dottie's forehead, like exactly there, probably with lipstick on there.
I was just gonna say with lipstick,
and Alice will just smear it even more, and she will be like,
it makes it even worse.
And then with the shoes probably in her hand with the high heels, she will just tiptoe out. Well, good night, and we'll close the door and then get the makeup off her face and go to bed.
You go to bed, you go to sleep, and you sleep into 1932. And we shall leave it there.
We survived
a
year with Cthulhu.
Yes, and you survived Egypt. And next time we're gonna have kind of like a denouement where we're gonna spend 2 weeks on a wonderful vineyard with Pamela and the kids. Just basically because we decided that the two girls need some downtime where nothing's happening.
Yeah,
and
if not, the sanity will be low so quickly that we will not have a lot of sessions left with them.
Yeah, so this is where we're going to actually in-game solve the sanity issue to basically make it possible for both of them to relax. And then
London.
We will actually take a break from the two of them before we go to London.
I know, but the goal is the next for those girls after this.
The goal is London. And then there's still one goddess that still needs
No.
Yes.
She can stay with her sisters. That's fine.
Well, you invoked them.
Go visit Uther. Bug her.
No, I don't think they want that. Yeah. So basically, thank you very much for watching and listening. And stay safe, everybody.
Yes, have a nice day, evening, night, whenever you watch.
Bye.
Bye-bye.